Steve, great to see you, even virtually today. You look great. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us at our conference. Perhaps we may start with U.S. election story. Now, it's still unfolding, but what is your, sense about the likely implications or impact of the latest U.S. presidential election and also Senate race?
Well, thank you very much, and it's great to be here. I wish I could be in Korea personally, but with the COVID world we all live in, it's tough to get around physically. So we're doing this virtually. On the U.S. elections, this is being recorded on Wednesday night, and so you will know the answer most probably by Monday when you start the conference. And so I don't know the answer for president yet. At the moment, it could be either Joe Biden for the Democrats or Donald Trump for the Republicans. They're very close. There's liable to be litigation and questioning of ballots in a few key states. What is interesting is that the election for the Senate, which is our upper house, the majority has gone to the Republicans, and in the House of Representatives, our lower house, it continues to be the Democrats. However, they have lost a number of votes there, whereas in the Senate, it's almost the same that it was with the Republicans dominating it before. It used to be 53 to 47. It'll probably be 52 to 48. So in a funny way, this was supposed to be a wave election where the Democrats were supposed to have changed the course of the United States in a variety of areas. That will probably not happen because the Senate has the ability to stop any new legislation. And so we will be having most probably some type of coalition government. We call it divided government, which usually works better than just when one party can do anything they want. So the biggest concerns in the United States are what happens with COVID. We have not had the same great outcomes as South Korea. South Korea, for a democracy, stands almost alone for its excellence in dealing with COVID. And that's also led to good economic outcome in South Korea. The US still has rebounded quite well, but the virus is very much like what's happening in Europe because it's spiking now. US cases are close to 100,000 a day, and that will probably lead to the US economy slowing its recovery. One thing that is important is we're getting relatively close, probably within the next month to two, of approving a vaccine that will work. And then there will be a number of vaccines from different companies that will work. And by the end of 2021, everyone anticipates that the people who want to be vaccinated, who we hope will be a large part of the population, will be vaccinated. And by the end of 2021, our economy will grow much quicker and will start returning to normalcy sometime in 2022.
Thank you, especially for your kind words about Korea's coming out of COVID-19 and economic recovery. We appreciate that. One of the international issues that have concerned many countries in the world has been the U.S.-China issue, so-called the Great Decoupling. Now, what is your sense about this U.S.-China decoupling will proceed, especially after the U.S. Presidential election? Do you foresee any substantive changes down the road?
Well, I think the U.S.-China decoupling has been coming for a while. It was certainly stimulated by the election of Donald Trump and the desire to have a level playing field in the tariff area and on trade generally. China, as you know, evolved over the last 40 years from a country that used to have $300 of GDP per capita 40 years ago, and now has somewhere around $11,000. This is enormous growth. Korea itself went through enormous growth, after the war, and successfully made that transition. China is still doing it. Typically, when you grow like that, you stay behind tariff walls, you champion national industries, and you do a variety of things that almost every country does in its development phase. The argument with China, if you will, is many countries in the West look at China and say, you're the second biggest economy in the world, you're rich. Look at those reserves that you have financially, and you need to change and be more like an open Western country. China would say to the US that you have GDP per capita of $64,000 a year, and we have only 11,000, and we are a poor country. And when we become a rich country, we will change, but we're not there yet. And so that's a major difference in perception. And so it's difficult for China to open exactly the way a Western mature economy would do. And this has taken a variety of different points of friction, the biggest one of which that's observable is really technology. And in this area, China, for reasons of control of its population, has always had the Great Firewall technologically. And the US has served as its biggest supplier, and Korea is a major supplier as well of high-tech products that enable them to grow. The US decided that unless we have the kind of access you could have in the US, China, why should we supply you? We just want things to be equal. You should open because we're open. And China, for their own reasons, does not want to open that industry. And so that's an area that's become highly visible around the world. And I don't know that that area will be able to be dealt with. On the other hand, China wants engagement with the rest of the world. It's good for their economy. And they've grown through export, although it's a smaller part of their economy. So the US and China together are somewhere between 35 and 40% of the entire world's economy. It frankly is not possible for these two great economies to really decouple. They are just so big that, and they already have so many relationships. It's a question, in my view, of both countries working things out in a way that pleases the other country, but also pleases their internal constituencies. If we have a new president in the United States who's Democrat, the Congress itself will continue to keep very similar attitude to China and on economic and other human rights issues that it currently has. The change of government will not make an enormous difference. What will make a difference, if it is the Democrats in control, is they will speak quieter than Donald Trump. And they will not get people as upset. However, the policies will be quite similar, not identical. They may change something with tariffs in exchange for something else that's good for both countries. But there will not be a revolution of change of approach with China.
Okay, great. What you said toward the end of your comment just before reminds me of something like, the two leaders, Biden and Trump, may have different style, but as far as the substance goes, there won't be much different as far as the U.S. Position against China. And
well, over time, I believe that the U.S. and China will find a better way to operate together.
Right. Okay.
Just because they really need each other in a variety of areas like climate change and health issues and AI and a variety of other things where there's need for global standards. And without the two largest economies in the world working together, the world itself won't work as smoothly as it needs to.
This increasing attention paid to protecting environment and creating social value, improving governance, whether there's corporate governance, and I'm tempted to expand that to global governance as well, for sustainable growth down the road. Now, this ESG concept is not new, but it's been around for like 10 years or so, since year 2008. But now it appears to be accelerating. What is your take on this? How important is this to your investment decision making? How useful would this sort of tool to achieve sustained growth down the road?
Well, there's no doubt we're living in a changing world physically. We're having fires, hurricanes, all kinds of disruption in the United States in record amounts. Temperature is going up globally, and the polar ice cap is melting, and you can see all these things happening. And the question is, what should be the response? And we all have both governments encouraging us to make responses, but as individual companies and people, we want to do things that are right to protect the environment. And we just announced at Blackstone last week, for example, that every company that we buy in the future, we want to put it through a test where we can reduce its emissions by 15% as a baseline. And that gives us one more criteria through which we can look at a potential acquisition. We've been doing a lot of things like this for a long time because it's also good business when you reduce the amount of hydrocarbons and electricity that's used. We've also looked at the issues regarding income inequality. We've increased the number of universities where we're recruiting to universities that involve diverse groups, probably by 4 times over the last 5 years. We took a project from a governance point of view, diversity, where in finance, there were relatively few women working in finance, certainly compared to when I started 50 years ago. 5 years ago, we had only 15% of our analysts as women who were working at the firm. And the reason we found out is that even though we would recruit, women were apprehensive about working in the financial world. And so what we started doing was recruiting them for like a free summer in their 2nd year and 3rd year at university. And what they found out is we're actually very nice people. And it's a terrific career. And now 5 years after we started, between 40 and 45% of our entry-level professionals are women now. It's amazing change. We've also announced that all the companies we buy, we want, from a governance point of view, a minimum of 1/3 of their board of directors being diverse people. And that provides other points of view. It provides an opportunity for people to grow and other points of view to be heard. And even within the firm, we've gone out of our way over the last 5 years to have groups of different types of people who can meet together and can give us, the senior management of the group, advice as to what we should do. So we have a group for women, for people of color, for LGBT people, and also for military veterans. And what's interesting about these groups is that anyone at our firm can join the group. You don't have to be one of those people. You just have to be interested in that area. And that has also enabled us to change a lot over time and be a more open and transparent firm. And we think this approach is good for society. It's in the areas that involve the environment, it's good for the environment. It's good for opportunity. And we think this is just a very sound way for business to help make change in society with nobody telling us to do it.
How about your investment priorities in the post-COVID era, by, say, type of investment, or by region, or a country like Korea?
Well, that's a great question. And we talk about that a lot internally. And we've been at Blackstone very successful because we call ourselves theme investors and growth investors. And so it's a question of investing in what we would call good neighborhoods. What's a good neighborhood? It's where you'd want to have your house. It's safe, but it's very pleasant to be in. And in the investment world, that involves growth without any substantial risk. And so we look at trends like technology, and that's where the high growth is. We're not in the venture area because we think that's a little risky, but as companies start growing, we think that that's a great area to be in. Healthcare, life sciences, this is another area that's also very good. Shopping trends online is another trend. And you don't have to do, you don't have to be Alibaba to do shopping online or Amazon. The fact is, those type of companies and all retailers need support services. So, for example, in our real estate area, we bought over 1 billion square feet of warehouses over the last 10 years. And we're either number 1 or number 2 in the world, depending upon where we're located. And why have we done that? Because you can't have online shopping without warehouses to have the goods to stage to deliver to customers. And so what we've done is we've looked at these mega trends and we say, how can we express in other areas and take advantage of those big trends? So the world after COVID has changed, and you know, for more traditional types of businesses, for example, theme parks, where we have one company that's the second biggest in the world. You know, you just have to wait for that area to come back and finance it. And if we could buy other companies that are sort of on pause, waiting for the pandemic to be over, if we could buy them at the right price, we'll wait for them to recover. If the price is wrong, you can't do that.
Great. Steve, perhaps last but not least, I cannot let you go without talking about your best-selling book, What It Takes. That's this book, right? And I would like to congratulate you on the publication of a Korean edition of your book like this. And I was very happy to add a small line of endorsement for your book. So now, could you tell us what takeaways our readers may expect from your book? Why should they read your great book?
Well, I wrote the book for a simple reason. I didn't need the money from the book sales. What I wanted to do is share with people what I've learned over 50 years in business and creating organizations and not-for-profit area as well as in the political world. And I wanted to show people what it takes to prosper, to be successful as a person, to grow an organization, how you hire, how you build a culture, how you imagine what would be wonderful to do, how to make a great investment, how to start something that grows very quickly, how to make group decisions, who you should hire and why, how to deal with stress, which sometimes comes when you're trying to do new things, or sometimes when it looks like you're making a mistake. And there are all kinds of things that we know when we've had a career where you wish you knew things when you were younger, so you either wouldn't make the same mistake, or you could take advantage of a growth opportunity or something else to make it do better. So ultimately, you'll be either a better employee, you'll be a better manager, you'll be a better entrepreneur, you'll have more success, and you'll have less downside for everything you do. And it'll also make you happier. We all like doing well. And if you could learn, you know, sort of, I have 25 rules, you know, in the book. that are just some of the things I've learned. And if you follow that, you'll be, I would bet, more accomplished, more capable than you were before you read the book. And so my objective is to make you successful and more successful, because all of us, no matter how successful we are, can always do better.
Great. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you again for your presence today. Your insightful and informative perspectives have been extremely helpful for us. We all appreciate your coming to join us at this conference. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
Well, I'd like to say thank you, but also tell you that around the world, everyone I know in almost every country has learned from South Korea about tracing during COVID and how to manage a situation better. And the idea that you've done so well in areas where other people have done so poorly is a great credit to your country.
Okay, thank you very much. I think, may I interpret that as Blackstone's plan to expand its investment in Korea?
Yeah, Blackstone has a variety of assets in Korea, all of which are doing very well. So we're on the outlook for new things to do. We also manage, I guess, somewhere around $17 billion of money from a variety of major institutions in Korea, and it's been a great partnership. And I'm sorry I can't be there, but then again,
next year should come.
Next year with vaccines.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Have a great conference.
Okay.